Okay, just getting back to this conflict, I know you don't really want to talk about it, but I just want to know, is there any like good guys? People always talk about the president of the US, which I'm not going to, who will remain nameless. But are there any good guys that are actually for humanity at this stage, or are we just, doing it on our own?
So what we will say is each one has an agenda.
Mm-hmm.
There is no agendaless there. And the only ones who do not want to be in the war, they are these good guys, are not involved in war.
Mm.
Because that is never the answer. And that is the only thing that we can say. Is like that. They each has a role. There is a character, there is a role that needs to be fulfilled. And there is a different agenda there. And this role of the USA it is very, how we will say this is, with each one there is free will, whether you want to believe it or not. And even with that one of that leader, there is free will. He has opportunity to do good, but he also has opportunity to step in his ego and not do good. So at any time, anything can happen. So don't lock yourself into a dream where you feel that, oh, this is my savior, because no one is going to save you but you. So just step away from it as far as you can. Don't feed your energy into it. Don't push into it. Don't put hopes and things into it. Just disconnect from it. Because if you disconnect from it, it means that you don't feed that construct. The less power it has, the more it will just fade out. But the more that gets fed into it, the bigger it's going to become. The same as like with an emotional wound. If you sit and you work on it and you deal with it, it becomes better. But if you leave it, it's going to grow into its own thing that later on you have to deal with on a bigger scale. Does this make sense?
Yes.
So again, we don't want many to have a debate about it, because this session is not about that. The session is about the only thing you can do is work on you. That's it. The only one who can save you, the only one who can move you, because there is going to be multiple shifts. There's going to be a third, a fourth, and a fifth. And whatever you lock yourself into, you will experience. So if you want to go with the third construct and be involved in those conversations, you will be there, and then you must enjoy that. Or the fourth or the fifth. So depending on where you put yourself, and then you will be able to see that reality, because in the fifth, all those wars die down, everybody makes peace, and everything moves into a different construct. But it's not going to happen immediately, just depends on how many move over to that side. Think of it as like a scale and a balance. Right now, the lower vibrations are at the more dense, are keeping the scale from tipping into that reality. And that is why messages have to be released like now, because a lot of the collective have been moving over to that unconsciously. So just disconnect yourself from it and move your consciousness somewhere else, because when you do that, you reshape and change things. Everything is about the free will. And free will is not just about what you decide. Free will is what are you putting your energy into.
I suppose the president we just spoke of is currently dismantling, the structures, which I suppose is part of his purpose. Is that not creating a new earth then?
That's why we say there is things that has to happen. These dark spots have to become active in order to, where the dark gets more dense and the light becomes lighter, they split off each other. So this is the split. So it is having to happen. There has to be, for example, like we will say, to bring it back home, if you can say, like Cape Town, it has to get dark in order for the other light communities around it to thrive and become in that fifth dimensional state. It has to happen. You'll see that other parts of your country, where major cities and things like that, thus of like Johannesburg, is already very dense, it is only going to get denser, because that has to happen so that other areas can become lighter. There has to be balance. There has to, because the construct has to play on that, because that is the one universal law that cannot be broken, if we can put it into that way.
But I mean, how can we then thrive if we're living in the countryside and our brothers and sisters are dying in the cities, you know?
The thing is, again, where do you put your energy? If they choose to stay there, then that is what they choose. Each one has a choice. Each one is coming to a crossroads, and you can choose. You can see that it's going that way, and you can see it's going this way. So if your brother and sister choose to go that way, then you need to be able to disattach yourself from that and allow them to have their decision, because each one is allowed to choose. So if they do not want to move from that, you can no longer help anyone. It is now, at this year, it is time where we say this example of being on an airplane. Put on your own mask. You cannot put on the mask for the other person. You cannot help them unless you've put your own on and be the example. That's all you can do, because now even when you speak to them, it's just going to go over them, because the time of trying to help them in that way is over. And now it is time for their own decision. You will see that many who were stuck in this third dimensional construct are suddenly waking up and now asking questions and doing things. And then people are surprised saying, oh, but I thought you never believed in this, because they made that shift. So there will be many who are coming awake, and there are many who are going back to sleep. And that is where you need to step back and allow them with their choices. And all you can do is be an example, because those who do wake up or feel that shift in themselves will be attracted to those who are living like that, and then they will go along with it.
But is it not some light workers, purpose to be in the trenches, in the war, with the others in the cities, to fight that war?
Not yet. There is many who will do that, but they cannot do that unless they've locked into the fifth. Remember that if you cannot go into war if you're not prepared for war. And that is why we are making the point now of saying that all light workers have to focus on this eternal. You cannot go and help someone if you didn't put your own mask on, and your mask is your shield. So if you are a light worker and you know your purpose is to help, then you better hop to getting inside and making that shield connection, so that when you go there, you will walk and it's as if there's no chaos around you, no bullets will fly, no conflict. You will even see the demeanor in people will change, that you will see them fighting and arguing, and when you get close in the field, they become happy and smiling. It's like video game. It's like when you get closer in a radiance, the whole concept shifts, and that is how light workers will be working and shifting. But you cannot be that light worker if you cannot follow the principle. That is that. You have to lock in the frequency, then many will shift and be living in there, and it will be a paradise and a dream where they are, because they would bring that energy field with them wherever they go. That's why you have to lock yourself, because if you lock yourself into the fifth, you can even walk in between an active war zone and you won't even feel it. But you cannot do that, because if you don't do the work, then you cannot have the spoils. If you did not plant the tree, you cannot eat the fruit. That is just as simple as it is.